Okay, fellas, Boruto Two Blue Vortex Chapter 22 just dropped. We see Jorah pull up on the battlefield. Boruto saves Konohamaru. Jorah get bamboozled by Boruto's Rasengan, but without further ado, let's get into the chapter. Chapter starts off with reused Thorn Soul Bulb forming, and Mitsuki is telling Araya to take the Thorn Soul Bulb to Shinki and allow him to deal with the Claw Grimes. Then out of the Claw Grime, the man himself pops out, and it's Jorah the Divine Tree Boss or Shinju Boss. Mitsuki is shaking at the sight of him and confirms he is the boss of the Divine Trees. Jorah interestingly glares at Sarada and immediately takes off while looking down on them. Araya wonders why he isn't after the Thorn Soul Bulb, but as it turns out, Jorah's focus isn't on them. We then cut to Boruto, and Konohamaru is amazed by how Boruto cuts down Matsuri easily, but Boruto, being humble, says it was only that easy because Matsuri was already quite beat up. Matsuri's pieces turns into a Thorn Soul Bulb. Konohamaru notices a hole on the ground after a mysterious attack and wonders what it is. Boruto confirms that it's Jorah's miniature Biju bomb sniper shot. Turns out the reason Jorah took off earlier was to aim at Boruto and snipe him from a distance, but that failed, so he starts flying towards Boruto in maximum speed, though Mitsuki thinks he is going towards Konohamaru. Konohamaru grabs Matsuri's Thorn Soul and asks Boruto for confirmation if it will save Matsuri, but Boruto is more interested in throwing kunai with different shapes around in preparation for the coming battle he foresees. Nude tells Konohamaru to pay attention and to hurry up and take Sarada and the others and hurry up to the rendezvous they first met with the Sand Shinobi, being Araya and Yodo, who is now deceased. Konohamaru tries to have that moment with Boruto, but he gets interrupted very quickly as Boruto screams at him to get moving, and we see Jorah approaching at Jorah speed level towards Boruto and Konohamaru. And before Konohamaru could even look, Jorah fires a Biju bomb at them, but Boruto grabs Konohamaru and gets him out of there, saving him from the explosion in time. Mind you though that Konohamaru could not even react to all of this. Boruto throws Konohamaru away to the ground, and Konohamaru is like, what the? But Boruto gives him that look, and he understands he really has to get running, and he does just that. While Konohamaru is running, Jorah stares and him, and Boruto uses this opportunity to teleport behind him and land a satisfying Rasengan from behind. And I can see that man Jorah felt that the impact pushes him downwards, but he manages to regain his momentum and charges a Biju bomb and sends the attack at Boruto. But Boruto teleports out of there, and while Jorah is still falling from the impact of the previous Rasengan, Boruto teleports to the ground behind him and unsheathes his sword and attacks. But Jorah does an air flip and blocks Boruto's sword with his claw grime finger. The clash pushes them both back, and Jorah compliments Boruto's flying rage and translocation technique. He also states that fighting strong opponents like Boruto makes his heart dance with joy. We cut to Kashin, Koji, and Ida. Ida states that Boruto is holding his own quite nicely and questions if he really has no chance against Jorah. Kashin Koji confirms that there is no way Boruto can win, not with the current sequence of events, and Boruto is well aware of that fact himself. Ada says that if Boruto is cornered, he needs to teleport away. Kashin Kojin states that Boruto can't even if he wants to, and explains to Ida that long-distance teleportation is tricky, and further explains that Boruto's teleportation depends on sensing chakra-marked objects, and they are harder to detect the farther away they are. And it's even more difficult when facing an opponent like Jorah, who is significantly strong and is going for the kill, since it has to focus all his attention on Jorah. To add salt to injuries, if Boruto flees right now, he will put the others in danger, and Jorah will retrieve Matsuri and reuse Thorn Soul Bulbs. Kashin Kojin adds that Boruto is thinking that he needs to hold Jorah in position long enough for Konohamaru and the others to get somewhere safe. Kashin Koji states that Boruto is done for without a doubt. We cut back to Boruto and Jorah, and look at this man Jorah standing there with his hands in his pocket while Boruto is going through all the possible ways he could kill him. Jorah reminds Boruto that he is here to put him out of his misery for good, because for whatever reason he seems to know too much about the Divine Tree. Jorah also states that the fact that Boruto is so knowledgeable about the Divine Trees is very questionable to him, and immediately questions if Boruto had an accomplice. This just goes to show how smart and calculative Jorah is. Boruto is giving Jorah the silent treatment. Boruto thinks to himself that Jorah must have taken some damage from the Rasengan and he can't read him at all, so he concludes that he will use Uzuhiko to take down Jorah. Jorah continues his questioning. He asks Boruto out of curiosity what love is. Jura continues by saying he thinks it's a fatal weakness in the human race, a side effect due to humans being highly intelligent. Jura uses Boruto as an example. He explains that Boruto knows quite well he cannot win against him, and yet he still came. In other words, love lured him here. Now, Jura immediately starts spamming wood style aggressively at Boruto in an attempt to capture him. Boruto weaves, dodges, and slashes. Boruto evades them and thinks to himself that he can't use Uzuhiko while on the air. It seems like Boruto has got an idea. But out of nowhere, Jura's attack catches Boruto and he lets go of his sword. The wood pierces through Boruto and he starts bleeding. Then Jura starts working majestically toward Boruto with his hands in his pocket. Jura sees Boruto's sword and Boruto is pissed off. Boruto threatens Jura, telling him that swords is very precious to him, saying he borrowed it from his master, and if anything happens to it, Jura will meet a fate worse than death. But Jura is unfazed and goes ahead to pick up the sword and says Boruto will yet again suffer because of love. Jura starts toying with the sword, and he threatens to break it. Jura goes ahead to make Boruto an offer, stating that he will not break the sword if Boruto tells him who his accomplice is, but nonetheless, he will kill Boruto either way. Boruto answers Jura, saying love may be a weakness to humans, but his opinion on the matter is Boruto break free from Jura's trap with Uzuhiko Rasengan and completes the answer to Jura's question by saying that Jura's way of thinking is why he will never be more than a tree. He then teleports behind Jura and lands a direct hit with Uzuhiko Rasengan. From this panel, I can tell that Jura notices him behind but did not have time to react. The attack sends him flying, and damn, I think Jura's back might be broken. Look at this posture, but Jura, being the GOAT, obviously regains his momentum and once again gets back on his feet. Boruto calmly picks up his sword and Jura starts feeling the effects of Uzuhiko. Boruto, feeling like the battle is already over, sheaths his sword and starts explaining the effects Jura is currently feeling. Boruto tells Jura the world around him should be spinning right now. His sense of equilibrium is mucked. He can't fly and he can't even walk. Jura is stunned by this. But what's even more stunning is that Jura immediately figures out how to nullify the Rasengan. He does just that. Jura starts that. It follows the same principles as his Biju bombs, and that's how he was able to nullify it. Boruto, with a distressed look on his face, realized that his trump card is useless against Jura. This is where the chapter concludes. And what will Boruto do next? Well, let me know what you think will happen in the comments, and with this, I will conclude this video. Peace.